Monday will mark a historic shift in U.S. Mideast policy, moving the U.S. Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. President Trump announced the move back in December. It is the reversal of long-standing foreign policy that the U.S. would not officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel unless it was included as part of a peace agreement between Palestinians and Israelis. Jerusalem is a divided city, and its ownership is at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For Jews, it's both a political and religious capital, home to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem's Old City. It's also home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam. Both Jews and Muslims pray at these sites daily. In 1948, after the first Arab-Israeli war, the city was divided between West Jerusalem, controlled by Israel, and East Jerusalem, controlled by Jordan. And in 1967, Israel annexed all of Jerusalem after the Six-Day War, declaring the entire city its capital. Most countries don't recognize Israel's annexation of East Jerusalem and therefore keep their embassies in Tel Aviv. Ned Walker is the former U.S. ambassador to Israel. Ambassador Walker, it's so nice to have you with us.
Good to be here.
So, with a bit of a short history lesson in there, would you give me a sense of why this is, if it is such a big deal to move the embassy away from Tel Aviv and into Jerusalem for the United States?
Well, we always had the embassy in Tel Aviv from the beginning in '48 because of security. Then it became impractical to move it because we were trying to negotiate peace.
What's the gain for the United States in moving the embassy?
If we were serious, and I'm not sure we are, about trying for an agreement on the Palestinian-Israeli situation, this move enhances the president's position with Bibi Netanyahu and his ability to convince Netanyahu, who's going to have to make some very serious compromises with his own position and his own party if you're going to get a deal. So
you think it's a benefit to the peace process potentially?
Correct, it can be.
Do you think then this is helpful to a two-state solution?
I don't think it hurts a two-state solution. Let's start with that. But fundamentally, let's be honest. The Israelis really have not had a coherent Palestinian group that they can deal with. Arafat never controlled all of the Palestinians, and certainly Abbas hasn't pulled the organization together with Hamas. So who do you negotiate with? Until the Palestinians can pull together and decide that they're willing to make some sacrifices of their positions, we haven't got anything to talk about.
So then let's bring in the Iran deal.
Yeah.
President Trump just removed the U.S. from the Iran deal. Is that something that you supported?
No, I did not support that move because I felt that we had negotiated a flawed agreement, but it was never designed to bring peace to the region or to change the position of the Iranian government or to overthrow it. It was only a very narrow sense to change the behavior towards developing a nuclear capability. And I thought that that was valuable.
So then let's bring this to American leadership in the region. With all these other maneuvers in the area, what does American leadership look like in your assessment?
America's leadership depends on America's strength. Insofar as we maintain and continue to maintain the strongest military in the world by far, and one of the strongest economies in the world, on which business and trade depends, we are going to, it doesn't matter who the leader is, we're going to be strong and we're going to be a part of almost anything that goes on in the world. That doesn't mean that we're going to get the extra benefit that you have when somebody is thought to be upright, reliable, and so on.
The moral leadership.
The moral leadership is important, but also the consistency is important. And both of those are being challenged right now.
Ambassador Ned Walker, fascinating. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.